What's the blowout price? What's the get her done now price? What can you sell this land for in the next 30 days? I don't want this thing sitting on Zillow for, 180 days.
Greetings, well builders. Welcome to Get Diversified, your go-to podcast for all things real estate investments.
I'm Jacqueline.
Melvin Landry. We're thrilled to embark on this wealth building journey with you.
Imagine this. What if your investments not only secure your future, but also unlock a life of financial freedom? That's what we're diving into on this show. Apartment buildings, storage facilities, mobile home parks, the whole shebang.
But here's the kicker. It's not just about investing. It's about crafting a legacy, building memories with your loved ones, and seizing every moment. Time is the currency of life. And let's be real, none of us wants to waste.
We've got the insights, experience, and dash of excitement to spice up your investing game. Plus, we'll throw in some real-life stories that'll make you see the potential in every brick and mortar.
Subscribe, buckle up, and get ready to turn your investments into the ticket to financial freedom. Together, we're not just building wealth, we're building a community of savvy investors. Let's get diversified.
So this is kind of in doing your due diligence or looking at the numbers, how are you using AI?
Oh my goodness.
Are you not, or are you just dipping your toes into it? Tell us a little bit about that.
We're testing it right now.
Okay.
And I am not, I'm testing it. I'll say that. I'm a tester before I like to share my results because I don't have great results yet with AI.
Okay.
But I think one of the best attributes of my business, the reason why I get deals today is I'm not AI. And none of my sellers want to deal with that AI. They think that's the devil. Like I'm buying a lot of land from people that are like 55 and older, 65 and older. Baby boomers, and they want to talk to you on the phone. They want your tangible letter. I've done deals over email. Not all of them are like that, but they deal in United States Postal Service mail. Sometimes I have to send a mobile notary to their house to get the paperwork done. It cost me $100. Big deal. So I think not using AI has gotten me deals because a lot of times we'll get the offer letter and I'll have to call and just make sure it's still like they're still wanting to sell. And the first thing I'll say is, hey, I'm not a computer. This is a real person. You sign my offer letter and send it back to me. This is Brent. And they're like so happy, like dealing with a real person. And they don't want to sell to some corporation. And we get into talking about I'm just a regular dude. I got out of the military to do land deals, pay for my lifestyle. I got 3 kids, little things like that.
Yeah.
So I think just the fact that we're not using AI a lot helps us. Now, our sellers don't know how to know what we're doing in the background of this, but they just want to deal with real people.
Yeah.
So my best advice is be real.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask the question here for my own selfish purpose. So we have a piece of land we'd like to get rid of. So if you were to buy this land, just an idea here. If you were to buy the land, how would you then resell it to somebody and get them to want to purchase it from you? Would it be to get some renderings together of what the land could be? Do you put any money into zero-scaping the land out before you put it on the market? Talk to me a little bit about that process.
Yeah, every piece of land is different. First I'd have to know what it is. Like, is it commercial? Is it residential? And I believe there's a buyer for every piece of land. If is it commercial or is it residential or what is it?
Residential.
Okay, so it's residential, super simple. So no, I wouldn't touch it. I would figure out what everything else is selling for and get it on the market for just a tad bit below that and offer seller financing. Get pictures and video, drone footage, make sure you're drawing the square or the triangle or the property dimensions so they can see that on those photos. Get eyeballs on that land because that's the biggest thing. When I've got a land shark saying, oh man, I can't sell this piece of land, I say, well, are you asking too much? Are you getting enough eyeballs on it? What is your marketing? Really, we're in the marketing business. We're just getting eyeballs on the land. So that's the steps I would take. I wouldn't really recommend putting any money into it because you never know what your buyer wants to do with it.
Right.
There's some things like I've seen, like attributes that work very well. Like, sometimes we've done minor amounts of clearing just so they can see the water or the mountain view, but not a lot, because you want to be very careful with that. I've seen fences sell land quicker. I've seen like circle driveways where they can pull in and out with their camper, sell land quicker, electric and well. But a lot of times like that's like a wash. It's like dollar in, dollar out.
Yeah.
So I don't really recommend it on most things. The biggest return on investment I've seen for my land, putting $1 in and like getting many dollars back out. I want a couple X return, not a
One for
even
one.
like, yeah, 1 for 1. That's garbage. One of the best things I've done is putting a brand new mobile home, double wide mobile home on our land. But that's, now you're getting in development and a lot more money, which there's a time and a place for that. But yeah, if I inherited a piece of land or whatever, or just had a piece of land I wanted to get rid of, I just, like I said, to repeat, see what it's worth, list it with a land sales specialist real estate agent. That's also very key. How do you find that person? That's the person selling all the land. Find that person in that area, in your area. You can find those people on Redfin, Zillow, places like that.
Now, do you have what does your database look like when it comes to people that are interested in buying land? Would you be a person that people can come to say, hey, I want to sell this piece of land? Because I'm a realtor, but I'm not a land realtor. And those are very different. I think people sometimes think, well, I'm a realtor, I can just go ahead and list this land. No, I found that doesn't work well.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, because I like, everyone's got an Uncle Bob. Everyone knows I should say everyone knows a realtor. A lot of people know realtors. That's not usually your person. Like Jacqueline, I wouldn't take my land listing in Pennsylvania and give it to you, because I want to go and see, maybe Marty Bergs is the guy that's selling all the land in Finleyville, Pennsylvania. That's the person I'm going to call and, hey man, what's the blowout price? What's the get her done now price? What can you sell this land for in the next 30 days? I don't want this thing sitting on Zillow for 180 days, where I see so many land listings, people put a sign and then the trees grow over it. Like that is a failure right there. That's just advertisement is all that is. And a lot of times people ask too much money. I call that land banking. There's a hope and a prayer that maybe Walt Disney will come by and want to open up a Disney World 3 or something like that, which happens all the time, So nothing against that.
So Brent, so if I'm interested in investing with you in some vacant land, tell me what that process would look like.
Yeah, so a lot of times I work with like my plumber, my in-laws, my neighbor. They're like, Brent, I got 50,000, or I got 20,000, I got a 200,000, whatever it is. I call them when the deal comes around and I say, hey, I got a deal that might work for you. And we secure it. We put a lien on it. We get a title insurance policy. We get a lender's title insurance policy. And then we figure out if they want to be paid monthly, quarterly, or when the deal sells. And sometimes they want to be in and out of the deal in 12 months. And then I've got lenders that like, I want you using my money for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And those are the best ones, where it's like, if I buy the land for 60,000 and I sell it for 100,000, I'm paying, my plumber 9% on that 60 grand for the next 5 years. And then I sell it for the 100,000 and I'm getting anywhere from 10 to 12% on that 100,000. It's a beautiful arbitrage. So I'm paying my plumber each month, paying his loan down, and then my buyer is paying my loan down. It's almost like what we call a sandwich lease, to where I'm in the second position, but my lender is in the first position. So if my buyer stops paying me, I better have some capital reserves to pay it for a few months, pay my lender, my plumber, for several months until I sell it again. Because if I don't pay, plumber's going to take it from me.
So you're almost like
any
a
improvements.
So you're almost like a hard money lender in the multifamily real estate space.
No, I don't think so. I
No?
mean, I'm not relending the money. I'm borrowing for the asset. And I could be not seeing exactly what you're saying. The way I look at it, I've used hard money lenders where they borrow from, like, say, pay you 8%, and then turn around and relend it to me for 12%.
For 12%.
Kind of, I guess it could be that. I mean, now that I'm explaining it, but I'm just doing it with a piece of land.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love that. So, okay, you touched upon this, but let's end with this in the next minute or so. So you briefly mentioned that land is better than multifamily or single family. And you said, because I don't have to deal with the crap. So elaborate a little bit more on that for those folks that don't see some of those other benefits they see?
I don't know if it's better, but I think it is. Let's do a side-by-side comparison of my first land deal. I got it under contract for $285. I was still in the military. I was a second lieutenant in the Army at this time. And got it under contract for $285. I didn't know what the land was worth. I didn't know how to comp this stuff. I didn't know how to figure it out. I just knew I wanted to do land because no one else was doing it back in 2016. So I called this real estate office really close to the land. I'm like, hey, what do you think this land's worth? What's the blowout price? She's like, probably like 10,000. I was like, oh my goodness gracious. I just stumbled. I was like, I hit the lottery. And then she ended up offering to buy it from me for $5,000 because she was going to flip it for 10. And I was like, let's do the deal. So next week she pays me $5,000. So I literally just netted like $4,700 in like one phone call. And I'm paid in less than a week. Now let's talk about my first house deal. I buy it in 2007 for $123,000. I had to take a $12,000 second mortgage out, line of credit, to fix the house up because it was a dump. And then I rented it out for like $1,000 a month until 2019. I had 3 evictions and then ended up selling that house for exactly the amount that I basically bought it for back in 2007. Never made a penny. My mortgage was about $900 a month. I'm making about $100 over each month net. But something always broke, like a water heater, a leaky roof, septic system. So I actually kind of lost money on that first house deal. And that just was my side-by-side experience with, land versus a house.
Yeah.
Same thing. We're selling a 19-unit apartment complex. It took me 5 years to renovate this in Colorado Springs. By the time we renovated it, Colorado Springs had all this growth, and they built these beautiful state-of-the-art buildings and swimming pools on top and bars and tiki huts and cabanas. My 1948 multifamily that we just renovated wasn't so appealing. So that's been my experiences. Land has always, mostly all of them. Out of all 350 transactions, I've only lost money on 2 now at this point. So.
Wow. Hey, Brent, we are out of time, but look, how any listener or someone that's viewing this podcast, how can they find you? I know you mentioned your website, but what's another way they can find you?
Yeah, if anybody wants to jump on a call and maybe chat their real estate goals, or maybe I can point you in the right direction, go to thelandsharks.com. You can get on my calendar. Maybe you just want to learn more about this, then subscribe to my YouTube channel, Brent L. And yes, the L stands for land, Brent L. Bowers.
Fantastic. And we'll be in contact. I'll schedule a call with you to talk about our land to see if you can help us figure out what to do with it, or buy it from us, or get somebody to sell it, or whatever. But I just don't want to keep paying on it and not making any money. That's not a smart investor.
Thanks, Jacqueline, for having me so much.
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. God bless.
Bye.
Jacqueline and Melvin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of Get Diversified. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes. Finally, stop by our website and follow us on social media. Ciao for now. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time. And remember, get diversified.